Woo! The power has been with you all along. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Michael.
And this is Starla Michael.
And today we want to touch on a topic that we've been hearing a lot of people in the light working community speaking about.
Everybody's feeling this way.
Everybody's feeling this way. And it's feeling like separation. So we just want to touch on a few bases about some of the experiences. And I want to say that we're having, but we're not. And it's not because we're great or we're below or beneath. It's just this experience we've already experienced. Now, it's recapping that experience again of feeling out of the loop, not feeling like you're fitting in with the masses. Yeah, you know that feeling, right? And I just want to tell all the light workers that all of the deep divers, all of the people who have done the inner work, the shadow work, the people who have went inside of themselves to fix themselves without the universe having to force them to change.
That's right.
That your time of glory is near. And because of you being wise enough to let go of situations that no longer serve you, no longer being bound to tradition, no longer being bound to the way it's supposed to go. Because remember, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And hoping that you'll get a different response.
That's right.
So for all the light workers, don't feel left out. I know right now you're the minority. You're the minority who is not repeating the same cycle over and over. Going into debt when you don't need to. I know my wife said she wanted to touch on a few of those topics.
That's what really got us on this is Christmas, and we're not saying Christmas is bad. Christmas is good. The family gets together. That's a good thing. But if you're listening to this podcast before Christmas, just remember we're telling you now that. If you feel like you get the gifts for the kids every year, you put them under the tree, you dread Christmas, that means that it's something you really didn't want to do, but you still holding on to doing it because it's tradition.
Oh, tradition.
Because people are gonna look at you crazy or judge you if you don't decide to participate and do what the masses do. But if you dread Christmas, then you should change. And we changed a couple years ago. We stopped feeding into the Kool-Aid, buying the Kool-Aid. We get together as a family, but we don't splurge and spend all of our bill money on Christmas gifts for our children. I mean, by gosh, we love our children all through the year, but we don't just. We stopped that a long time ago.
And after Christmas is over with, and after the kids got the gifts,
the
kids only gonna play with them for a few moments, a few days, and then they go up under the thing.
Right.
So, a part of being conscious, like me and Starla already know, is looking at yourself and telling the truth.
That's right.
Are you really doing this for your kids?
Yes.
Are you really doing it because they need to have all the toys and presents on this day? Or can we be real? Are you really doing it just because you need to go on social media to tell everybody what you did get your kids? Or you're ashamed to say, hey, I didn't get my kids this, and this, and Ricky and Bobby and Shanae and Martin Lawrence and whoever else in your reality bought this and that for their kids.
But the main thing is, are you doing it just because that's what you've always done?
Repetitive motion, right?
You've always done that, and it's so hard to let go of what you've always done, even though it's no longer serving you.
Correct. And I know you guys, a lot of people are disagreeing with this now. But I want you to replay this segment after Christmas when I'm saying you all, I'm not gonna say you all because slumping everybody in, assuming that everyone has the same perception of reality. But for those that are just following just because they were told to follow, we know, because I've been there before, that right after Christmas everybody's waiting for income tax time to replenish back up. But I want you guys to really think about something, to dive deep inside of yourself to see what's truth and what's not your truth. The truth is, if Christmas was supposed to be to celebrate the birth of Christ, right? But then you can just go and celebrate that.
That's true.
If Christmas was a day that you just get together with family, well, you can just get together with your family. But instead, Christmas has become a day that you have to pretend to be Santa Claus.
That's right.
And the day that capitalist corporations, Walmart, Kmart, the Target, all of these groups of people, Amazon. These are the days that they capitalize the most on your willingness to follow the same traditions over and over again. Now, if the tree bear good fruit, then that means the day after Christmas, you will be feeling joyful and joyous. But instead, we know that most people, which I'm thinking of the 98% of all the population, they have regret and dread because now you got to go pay the bills on January the 1st. Rent's due, lights due, cables due, insurance due, and you've placed yourself in a financial bind. Now, what does this have to do with consciousness? Well, I'm glad that you did ask. What it has to do with consciousness is simple. You have to be able to let go and change if you're ever going to bring about a new world.
That's right.
See, you guys, for so long, we always say, man, I wish life was better. Why does this world have to be so bad? Why is there so many evil people here? But at the same time, none of us as a whole, as a collective, have made the decision to say, hey, let's change some of the small things.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, how can you stop sex trafficking and all this stuff if you can't even stop going to the Walmart to go spend all of your last rent money and gas money and food money for gifts that you know your children are not going to play with but for 2 days? I mean, it has to be some place that you choose to start. So I don't want to touch on the people who have not made the choice. That's your choice, man. You live, you learn. And that's what the journey is all about. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
That's right.
But I do want to say this to those that have already walked the path, those that have dived deep inside of themselves. I want to let you know this: the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Your time is coming. See, the time that the world of following the same traditions over and over, it's no longer going to serve the world anymore. See, before a new world can ever come, the old world must be destroyed. And it will not be destroyed by your hands. So I'm not saying destroy and death and things. I'm just saying that before you can plant new vegetation into an area, that vegetation has to be gone.
That's right.
So what happens is the universe recycles itself. Earth does too. It's going to get rid of the old system completely. So then people are going to attempt to find peace and joy and happiness and contentment within the old system, and it's no longer going to be there. So the reason you're feeling this neglect, the reason you're feeling this separation from everybody else in the masses is because where you're at, you're supposed to be laying the foundations to the new world that you're creating. And of course, like always, it's lonely there because most people are not laying that foundation. Mm-hmm. They're still enjoying the fruits of their old world, But what happens when that old world roots get plucked from the ground? There's no more vegetation. There's no more food for them to eat. And the only place that it'll be food is where we stand. So I'm saying this to you now. Yeah, you feel like the outcast right now, but soon you'll be the popular kid. Soon you're going to be the new kid on the block. Soon you and I and my wife, those that have chose to do the hard work, you will be the king. So embrace this moment.
That's right.
Embrace it. 2020 is here, baby.
That's right. And then let me add one more thing while we're speaking about change. Because we've let go of a lot of things. We've changed a lot of things in our life. A lot of ideologies that we had have changed. And one thing that I've been experiencing is once I do make my changes, it's just because I changed today, next month, I might need to change again. Something might not be serving me now that I've changed. I've changed. I say I changed this. I'm not this, and I changed. And next month, something comes to me and I says it's no longer serving me. So I have to change again. So I have to be willing to acknowledge it, which I'm learning, and I have to be willing to change again.
Okay, and Charlotte, I want to touch on that. It's funny. Now, the reason my wife's saying this is we had a discussion last night about the same topic, about how many times that we change. So I want to explain why you have to continuously change.
Yes, change.
So I'm going to get into that topic. It's as simple as this. Words and explanations, like the ego and the soul and all these things. See, the truth is those are just ways to describe to our little bitty brains, okay? Remember, you don't even use, 15% of the human brain. You don't use nowhere near 15% of your brain, okay? So that means there's portions of reality, not portions. There's a mass swath of reality that you can't even perceive. I can't even perceive. I mean, my mentors probably can't even perceive it. So what happens is,
hey, it's levels to this.
Yeah, and hey, like they say, it's levels to this. Yeah, no, it's levels. And each level that you go to, you can't take the same what you learned in the third grade. You can't go take your knowledge of the third grade. You know, I made all A's of the third grade, so I'm going to use third grade knowledge every place that I go to. No, it's time to break down that third grade knowledge. They're going to tell you, hey, that's null and void.
That's right.
Now you got to go to the 5th grade and the 6th grade and the 7th grade and the 8th grade. And each time that you're going up, you're not just adding to. Sometimes you're finding out, wait a minute, I didn't even need that. No.
Right.
We had to explain this to you so that you could understand that.
That's right.
You guys, the universe is ever evolving. You have to evolve or die.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what my wife is basically touching on. I want to give you guys something that happened to me in my reality when I had to make change. So when I first became aware, it was in 2012. And I was upset with watching black people always being locked up and incarcerated or on drugs. And that was the reality that I experienced. I was Mr. Goldmouth, and everything that I was seeing was shoot 'em up, and bang, bang. Your friends got AR-15s and AK-47s and MAC-9s. And that was the reality that I was living in. Every house I go to, your friend got the Uzi laying by the door, and this was my truth. So I became disgusted with that portion, not knowing that I was getting ready to have a spiritual awakening. But it started out with me realizing who I was as a black person, you know, because through American history, we were always told that we were just slaves, you know, slaves, and you ancestors of slaves. So I started going to the library and getting tons of books to find out, well, honestly, we were royalty, right? That we were the pharaohs that they speak about in Kemet or Egypt. And then I started realizing the truth. Like, wait a minute, Egypt is in Africa. Why are all the paintings on the wall of the black people dark skinned? Wait a minute, someone had hid our knowledge. And when I say our, that was my old perception, because our now is all life force.
That's right.
Okay? So I'm telling you about my old perception of reality. And I was saying our meaning black people, right? And I became like a black activist type person. Not saying a black activist that I was against white people or that I was only pro-black. I was just proud to be black. And I had to experience that because I was never proud to be black. You know? I thought that black meant to be ignorant. I thought black, you had to be dumb. You know, I'm talking about I'm talking about blah, 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 you know, all that craziness. And if I would have stayed there, I would have never been able to, if I didn't change, even though I had to make the change from being the drone black boy with the pants sag, wanting to sell drugs and shoot them up. But then I changed into another version of me, this black activist, this one who's trying to tell the blacks that it's time to stick together as black people. If I would have stayed there, I would have still been lost.
That's right.
Because then I would have been in duality. I would have been in separation. What about all humanity, you know? So what happened was, I told the universe, like, oh, thank you for showing me about my people. Kemet, yes, thank you, universe, thank you. And the universe like, yeah, Trey, is good. You learn. Now let me teach you something new. Yes, I'm ready to learn new. We're going to put a stop to this white suppression. You know, it said, okay, hey, white people are your brothers and sisters.
That's right. They're your brothers too.
What? Wait a minute. What is this that is coming? You know?
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Change.
And then the universe started showing me that all of this ethnicity was separation. What I'm saying is, I graduated, and I was time to me then to learn wholeness, togetherness, you know? And that was a big shift. I wanted to hold on to being pro-black. No, the blacks need me, you know? And it's funny to me now, you know?
That's right.
But I know a lot of people are going through this same process. Listen, you guys, in order to achieve infiniteness, you got to get out of your box.
That's right.
You have to get out of the little template that you're using. I mean, it served you for a while.
That's right. You got to learn to flow like water.
Flow like, man, that was perfect. Say it one more time, Starla.
We have to learn to flow like water.
Flow like water. Water doesn't fight what containment it goes in. It forms any shape that you place it in. And that's why water makes up 80% of the earth. You guys, what we're saying is this. The great shift is upon us. And right now, it is time for us to make this shift with the universe. Don't be like the rest of the people who are going to hold on to the bitter end. You were going down with the ship. No. Why go down with the ship when there's another ship right outside your door? You know? The shift is happening whether you want it to happen or not. Don't allow the world's telling you, hey, you're weird and all this. Don't let that bind you. Don't let that make you go back. You've came so far. What does it serve a man to swim from the center of the ocean, to survive the waves and the sharks swimming with all of their might, to finally make it to the beach's sands and are too tired to pull your face out of the sand to breathe and die on the beach shore? You should have just died in the middle of the ocean. And I'm not saying this physically, I'm just saying spiritually. We've come too far. You're at the doors of the age of Aquarius. 2020 clear vision is here. Woo! So listen, you guys, we just wanted to give you some stuff that we've been experiencing and stuff that we've been hearing a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters of the light experience.
A lot.
And we want to tell you, don't feel bad about being separate from the bunch. If you feel like you're not a part of this world, if you feel like you don't fit in, it's because you came to create a new one.
That's right.
Listen, you guys, like we always say, live, love, and laugh, and namaste, namaste, namaste. Peace.
Peace, everybody.
You guys create that new world.
And stay enlightened.
And stay enlightened. Peace.